The View is live. See Pac-Man. The wildest moments from President Trump's marathon speech to conservative activists. And why it could be exactly what voters want to hear.
We're going to do it, I think, again in 2020, and the numbers are going to be even bigger.
Plus, he's made headlines for taking on Trump. But is it enough for Washington State Governor and presidential candidate Jay Inslee to stand out in a Democratic field that's getting more crowded every day? He's live on The View. A brand new View Your Deal. Plus, guest co-host and New York Times op-ed writer Barry Weiss on whether some Democratic rising stars are pushing anti-Semitism in their party. Hot topics are on the table with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
Whoopi is still not feeling up to par yet. We're hoping she'll be back soon, and we look forward to her triumphant return to the table. And today, our guest co-host is New York Times op-ed writer Barry Weiss. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
And I'm sorry, my old friend from college, Barry. We went to Columbia together.
I promise not to share any embarrassing Meghan stories from Columbia.
Last night I emailed, I was like, no Columbia stories on the show, okay?
Okay. So the hot topic that is breaking this morning is a bombshell expose in The New Yorker that claims that for Fox News killed, watch this, killed the Stormy Daniels story. So it wouldn't hurt Trump's campaign. So much for the free press. The article claims that Fox News entertainment reporter Diana Falzone, I think that's how she says.
Diana Falzone.
Well, she's Italian. It's Falzone, all right? Diana brought them the story, but the head of the FoxNews.com at the time, Ken LaCorte, I presume that's not LaCorte, told her, quote, "Good reporting, kiddo, but Rupert Murdoch wants Donald Trump to win, so let's just let it go." So does this prove that Fox News is just a mouthpiece for the Trump administration, or what?
Didn't we already know that? I mean, the Jane Mayer story is a bombshell, not just because of the Stormy Daniels revelation, the fact that they killed it because they cared about promoting Trump more than they cared about an unbelievable news story, right? So on that score, it proves that it's more propagandistic than it is about news. But then there's this other bombshell, which is that Gary Cohen intervened with the Justice Department in the AT&T Time Warner merger in order to help enact President Trump's vendetta against CNN. So I'm sorry, isn't that abuse of power? I mean, forgetting even the Jared Kushner security clearance abuse of power. That alone.
And by the way, Rupert Murdoch is Australian, so not just the Russians are bothering us.
You have that piece too. I mean, it's just a terrible thing. It does show that there's this incredible notion that Fox News has become, I guess, state-run television. I wonder if you can trust the journalism that's coming out of Fox News now. And I think what worries me is that you do have some good journalists there. I mean, Chris Wallace being one of them. And so what does that do to someone like Chris Wallace, who I think tries really hard to get it right?
Has he responded to this news by any chance? Does anyone know?
It just broke. And then I wonder about this reporter, Falzone, who, you know, Ronan Farrow won a Pulitzer Prize for this reporting. And so that story was hers first. And you have her employer taking that opportunity away from her and taking that story away from the American public right before an election. I mean, had everyone known about Stormy Daniels, I mean, would they have voted for this president?
Yes.
Maybe not.
They still would have voted for him.
I don't know. That influenced, I think, the outcome of the election.
There's another part of the Fox story from Jane Mayer that alleges, and this is not 100% at this point, you probably know more about this than I do, that somebody Rupert Murdoch might have given the question about that, what's her name?
Oh, the Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly was going to ask Trump, remember, which annoyed him about sexual abuse.
It said that Roger Ailes, I guess,
Roger Ailes,
had
not
sent
right. That's right.
And,
He
and by
told
the way,
her. And so he, after he said, you know, she's bleeding from the wherever, he still got all the votes.
Wait,
so
I'm
they
not-
realized he was Teflon at that point, if this is true.
so that's
I
a
see.
piece of
Yeah.
this. And again, this is all like allegedly. But I do think the biggest part of the piece is this Stormy Daniels story. And Meg and I, look, we both worked at Fox. I can only speak for myself at the table. I worked under the news division. I worked in the bureau with all the reporters when I first got there, and I worked on an opinion show.
Yeah.
And you have to separate the two. If you're going to turn on Sean Hannity at night, you have to know that you're going to get probably stuff supporting Trump. That's his take.
Right.
But the
This
news
is
side
different.
but the news side of Fox, they take very, very seriously there. And there are, as we always say, wonderful people that work there. Diana Falzone, I knew when I worked there, she was a great reporter. And if this story is true, and there are many reasons to believe it is based off the piece, that is a real, real problem for Fox. And it's a problem for the journalists that work there that want to break these stories. That is why they're there to do their job. And that is the biggest part of the story. If it comes out to be true, they've got a real problem on
Because
their
it
hands.
shows that the two now are conflated, right? The propaganda, the state-run television part of it, the opinion part, has taken over the news function.
Well, the
But
boss,
the other
what the
thing
boss
is,
says.
but the other thing is, if you're just a regular American watching Fox News, it blends together. It goes from, you know, a show like Chris Wallace and Brett Baer, which is actual news, into people talking about, you know, out-and-out conspiracy theories like prayer rugs at the border and the Soros-occupied State Department. And when that all
Some
gets...
more lies.
Just to counterpunch on that
Yeah.
is Donna Brazile was exposed in WikiLeaks for giving up a debate question from the Clinton campaign.
And she
that
resigned.
She knew through CNN. Yes, I'm just saying, like, the debate question thing has now happened on both sides.
Yes.
I would make the same argument about CNN commentators, that there's a lot of times that I don't know the difference between an opinion host and a journalist on CNN as well. So I think this is a systemic problem with journalism in general. You're a great journalist. I don't know if you would disagree with me one way or the other. I will say...
I totally agree on that. I just
Good.
think it'd be strange
Thank
for a
you.
news organization to kill a scoop like that.
I don't disagree
Yeah.
with that, but I would also say that I also worked with Diane, and she is a great journalist, and some of the other elements at play in this, you guys probably don't know who this is, but I do because I grew up in Phoenix and Scottsdale. They're like 10 minutes apart, but there's a gossip columnist named Nick Ritchie who ran a website called Dirty Scottsdale that turned into The Dirty. He's also involved in this, and what's interesting to me is a lot of times it's like the National Enquirer and gossip people that start with these stories, and then it filters its way up one way or the other. And I think we maybe aren't giving people like the National Enquirer and Nick Ritchie enough credence for doing
Well, the
other
National
kind of
Enquirer
journalism.
broke the John Edwards story.
Yeah.
We have a
So-
legal note, Sonny.
We do. We have a legal note. Excuse me. The former Fox News executive Ken LaCourte, accused of killing the story, has since reportedly said that he'd made the call without talking to superiors and claimed, quote, the story simply hadn't passed muster and that he didn't do it to protect Trump.
Oh, baloney.
The other thing I'm supposed to add is that the Gary Cohen story is alleged him intervening in the State Department, but
And
read the New
you know-
Yorker
you
story.
know, I
Jane
have-
Mayer is a crack reporter.
I must take issue about the CNN because we were at Anna Navarro's wedding yesterday and Wolf Blitzer was there.
Yes.
And he told us the funniest story. I just have to tell you the story. He's got a 2-year-old grandson, and he said the kid goes, "Happening now, breaking news, Trump's."
I forgot about that. Sorry.
2 years old. I thought that was so funny.
First sentence.
Happening now. Okay, coming up, Trump gave a 2-hour speech at CPAC. We'll hit the highlights next. Stay tuned.
This week, get ready for one superstar week on The View.
I like it.
We're rolling out the red carpet for Katie, Luke, Lionel, and yes, Ryan too, when American Idol comes to The View. And things get totally marvelous when Captain Marvel Oscar winner Brie Larson and Annette Bening hit The View. It's all this week on ABC. Still ahead, Washington State Governor and presidential candidate Jay Inslee is given his political view. And an all-new View Your Deal.
Welcome back. Okay, so Donald Trump was really in his element at the Conservative Political Action Conference, also known as CPAC, launching into a 2-hour marathon speech where he went way off script. He thinks he's a stand-up comic. Watch this.
Stand up next to you and defend her still today.
New Green Deal or whatever the hell they call it. Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling. Russia, please, if you can, get us Hillary Clinton's emails. You put the wrong people in a couple of positions, and they leave people for a long time that shouldn't be there. And all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with the Attorney General says, I'm going to recuse myself. I'm going to recuse. And I said, why the hell didn't he tell me that before I put him in?
Please, he hugged that flag, so if he did any closer, hugging that flag, he would have to pay it hush money. You know, he seemed to be sweating a lot and very nervous and using the BS
language.
word. He didn't even say BS. I mean, just when you think it can't get any lower, he gets lower.
Also,
So-
Jeff Sessions, by the way, was one of the first to ever endorse him. That's who he's making fun of, his first
Making
attorney
fun of
general.
Jeff
He was, remember, he was one of the first guys to wear the Make America Great Again hat.
Yeah, I can't feel sorry for Jeff Sessions, though. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would just say is, again, it's shocking that one political party in this country has become the party of Trump. I mean, it's a cult of
Yes,
personality.
that's right.
And you
Yes.
can look at CPAC and say, it's just the lunatic fringe. But the fact is, if you want a sense, I think, of where a lot of the Republican Party base is, you should go to CPAC and see the way that they've become sycophants for these people. It's not about
Are
conservative
you saying
values.
the base would not agree with CPAC?
No, I'm saying they would.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
saying
would.
it's
And 90
tragic that in 2 years, a party that had such principles.
The party of Reagan, who they considered the saint of republicanism, is now this.
And the party of family
Yep.
values, because that's what we were talking about it during the Hot Topics meeting, and I was saying, well, CPAC, is it a think tank? You know, is it about conservative values? Because if you look at the folks that speak there, you're talking about the vice president, Mike Pence, who was supposed to be, this, family values type person, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump Jr., Glenn Beck, Liberty University's Jerry Falwell, Larry Kudlow.
Falwell Jr.
Falwell Jr., sorry. And so these are people that are supposed to be entrenched in the Republican Party. And again, is this the Republican Party any longer, or is this the Trumplican?
Well, in a new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll found that 90% of Republicans approve of Trump's work
But
right
it's
now.
not just that. 46%, according to a new NBC Washington Post poll, 46% of this country, according to this poll, approves of the job that the president is doing. So that is a bigger
Amazing.
conversation of where the mood of the country is and where a lot of the conversations in the media are. Because I
Except-
think there's a big disconnect sometimes with how people are feeling and the way people in the media are talking about it.
Except 41% of voters say they'll vote for Trump, 48% say they'll vote for Democrats. So there's a 6%
Well, it depends on who that
lead.
Democrat is, probably.
Well, they're just saying a Democrat, any Democrat. I'll vote for any Democrat.
Not a
Pee Wee Herman.
socialist.
Pee Wee Herman, run. I'll vote for you.
Pee Wee.
I gotta go. Coming up, Jordan Woods gives her side to what she says really happened on her night out with Khloe Kardashian's ex, Tristan Thompson. We'll talk about that next. So take that.
Central on ABC.
So from one reality show train wreck to another, let's talk about the Kardashians. It appears that the Khloe Kardashian-Jordan Woods saga is continuing. Woods was accused of sleeping with Khloe's boyfriend, Tristan Thompson, which he just denied on Jada Pinkett Smith's show, Red Table Talk. Here's her side of it. Watch.
There was no lap dance involved, but my legs were laying right over his. On the way out, he did kiss me. The last thing I wanted to do was be that person. I'm no homewrecker.
Right,
I would never try to hurt someone's home,
right.
especially someone that I love.
Oh, I'm so
I'm sorry. If anyone believes that they just kissed, they're insane.
I know. Well, Khloe wasn't buying it, like you, saying that Woods is a liar and blaming her for breaking up the family. She followed up with a tweet where she said Tristan was equally to blame. Why are the women so quick to blame another woman?
Because it's easier to blame the other woman. Obviously, we know. I'm not even totally read up on the Kardashians at the moment
You
because
haven't?
so much is happening every second. But
It's hard to
what
follow.
I know enough to know that Tristan is a serial cheater.
Right.
Chloe obviously knows that,
Yeah.
but she's decided to stand by her man or whatever. And it's much easier to blame the person that she's not close to than to blame the father of her child.
And the word
That's what's going
homewrecker
on.
always refers to a woman. Am I
woman.
right about that?
Well,
yeah.
all
There's
I-
no,
He's the
there's no male
homewrecker.
equivalent except he's a dog.
Well, my
That's
mother
it.
always told me that you lose them how you catch them, and he was with someone else, and that someone else was pregnant when Chloe caught him. I'm just saying.
Oh.
And so.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Right. I mean, do I have it right?
So you're up on this.
Yeah. So and he is a serial
Sunny
cheater.
is our designated Kardashian group.
He is a serial
All I will
cheater.
say is our office was watching this interview like they were watching the Michael Cohen hearings. I don't know what that says about us, the show, or this country. We've got Trump as president, and we've got the Kardashians that are headline every single day that dominate this show and everyone's lives. I don't know what that says about us.
We have a President Kardashian,
Yeah.
right? That's the
I
whole
know.
point. The whole point is that we are all living in a kind of distorted, upside-down reality
Yes.
in which
I know.
fame and celebrity are more important than substance. That's
true.
what's happening.
That's
Thank you for
exactly
saying
what's going
that.
on.
That's
Very well
exactly
said.
where we're
We'll
at.
be right back. We'll be right back. Good. All right, on to
Tomorrow, American Idol judges Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and Luke Bryan invade The View with host Ryan Seacrest to get into idol chatter about the new season.
And welcome back. You know, a hot topic that's come up several times at this table lately are accusations that some of the newly elected Democratic candidates are promoting anti-Semitism, which is a subject that our guest co-host Barry Weiss has spent her career writing about. So we're glad to have you here. And let me ask you this. Now, you are a proud Jewish girl.
Yes.
You had your bat mitzvah at, what's the name of the place again?
Tree of Life.
The Tree of Life that was hit by the terrorist attack recently. And even though you have been writing and talking about anti-Semitism, something switched with you after that terrorist attack. Tell us about that.
Well, I would say for the past decade or more, I've been watching, as all of you have, the rising anti-Semitism across Europe. Cemeteries being defaced,
Right.
and a Holocaust survivor lynched in her apartment in Paris by her neighbors, people getting beat up in the street for wearing a yarmulke or for speaking Hebrew in Berlin. I always thought that America was different. That it was different not just because of our love of religious liberty and the fact that the founders themselves always had embraced the Jewish population of this country, but the fact that we don't have a history of genocide and anti-Jewish pogroms, and the fact that we don't have a flood of immigrants from countries where anti-Semitism is the norm,
But we've
despite
always
what
had
Donald Trump would
But
say.
there's always been some anti-Semitism in this country. I remember during World War II, famously the St. Louis ship
was turned around.
famously turned back to go back to Germany because they would not accept them in this country. And FDR was our president at the time.
Yes, and
So-
there's always been country
Yeah.
club anti-Semitism and having to change your name anti-Jewish prejudice. What's different is the fact that I thought America was an exception has changed. I am now worried that what we are seeing in Europe could be coming here, and that's for a few reasons. The main one of which is the fact that conspiracy-minded thinking, the idea that their Jews are a secret power that control the world, something that we see both on the right and the left, is rising. And in a politics where there's no healthy middle ground, where there's no center, and where the lunatic fringe is rising on the left and on the right, you kind of have a perfect storm. On the right, you have the far right saying the Jews aren't white and Christian enough.
Alt-right, please.
Alt-right,
you.
excuse me. And on the far left, you're hearing them say that the Jews are not victim enough. And so the Jews sort of have no place in American politics at the moment, and that is not a good
on
situation
the
for
right,
anyone.
isn't it mostly coming from Muslims on the left?
No, on the left, it's also coming from people who try and claim that their criticism is just about the state of Israel, when it's really not about criticizing Israeli policies. It's about saying that of all the flawed states in the world, all the flawed states,
Right.
including Syria and Iran and North Korea and Russia and China, only one doesn't have the right to exist, and that is the Jewish state.
So we've talked about this offline, personally, and now on this show, but it's easy to spot anti-Semitism when it's a bunch of crazy people with tiki torches screaming Jews will not replace us.
Yes.
What's trickier is tweets like Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's recently deleted about how Israel has, quote, hypnotized the world to carry out, quote, evil. That is harder to spot as anti-Semitic, which makes it more dangerous, you think. How so?
Does make it more dangerous because, as you said, when you see people marching with tiki torches or you hear the Pittsburgh killer writing on social media, all Jews must die, that's very obviously eliminationist. The problem with anti-Semitism from the far left is that it often oftentimes is smuggled into the mainstream under the guise of progressive values. So it says about itself, I'm just standing up for the downtrodden Palestinians, which they are. I am just standing up for justice. I'm standing against racism. And so that kind of language is a siren song, including to Jews, 75% of whom vote for Democrats. And so that's the problem with it, is that it's not as easy to spot, oftentimes because it says we're just about criticizing Israel. In the case of
Did Nancy Pelosi shut it down?
Nancy Pelosi shut it down very aggressively with Ilhan Omar. The problem is that she still has a spot on the Congressional Foreign Affairs Committee, and that's a real question.
I want to ask you a question, because you're mentioning the Palestinians.
Yep.
And an independent UN report into last year's protests along Gaza's border fence involving Israeli security forces that resulted in the shooting deaths of more than 180 Palestinians concluded last Thursday that there are reasonable grounds to believe Israel violated international humanitarian law. Now, isn't it possible to oppose those human rights violations without being anti-Semitic? In other words, criticizing the policies, but not criticizing Israel?
The answer is absolutely yes. Just as I am a proud American and I criticize Donald Trump's policy of separating families at the border, which you know more about law than me, may be a violation of international humanitarian law, that's 100% kosher.
Doesn't make you anti-American.
Not at all. It makes you, in fact, love America because you want it to stand up for its ideals. I'm a liberal Zionist. I am very critical of the policies of the current Israeli government. I believe that Bibi Netanyahu is selling out the legacy of the Holocaust when he makes common cause with leaders like Viktor Orban in Hungary. I believe that he is desecrating what the Jewish state is all about when he allows out-and-out racists into his political coalition. I'm saying all of that. I'm not an anti-Semite. That's about criticizing Israel. Where it crosses a line is when it becomes about dehumanizing Israel and Israelis and Jews. And when you say that the largest Jewish community on planet Earth, 70 years after the Holocaust, does not have a right to exist in the Jewish ancestral homeland, that's when it crosses a line.
Okay. Thank you for that. Everybody has to speak out against this type of thing. It's disgusting on both sides. Barry's book, How to Fight Anti-Semitism, will be out in the fall, so we will be looking forward to that. And we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Washington State Governor Jay Inslee has stood up to President Trump in person and in court. But does he stand a chance running against him for president? He's live on The View. Next.
This is an issue that touches everything we hold dear. And I just tell you, I take this personally. I got 3 grandkids. I've officially designated them the cutest kids in Washington. And I am dedicated that those kids do not live in a degraded world. That's my commitment, and I'm going to get up every day making sure they get that.
All right. Maybe I am just a unicorn from another planet, but climate change doesn't even hit my top 30 of how I vote for somebody. So I do think I am on this panel to say isn't what's selling me on you beating Trump, and I say that with respect. What's also not selling me on beating Trump is the new Green Deal, which all of the 2020 contenders have endorsed. It would cost $93 trillion, or to every person in this room, $600,000 per each of your households. Do you think that plan, thank you ma'am, is practical, or have you endorsed it, or do you have another option? Because when I hear that an average American is going to have to spend $600,000 for a new Green Deal, you can understand how people like me don't think that's logical.
Well, this is a lot like the death panels you heard about in Obamacare. The Republicans talked about death panels. We didn't have death panels, and we don't have $600,000 costs. This is a thing that I think has been helpful in our discussion in a variety of ways. Number one, we're talking about climate change. That is of value. We're also talking about high ambition.
Could you give an example to just the average person in here, how they can help, where it doesn't sound so irrational? I mean, we're talking about $51 trillion, the elimination of planes, the elimination of cows, a railway, no planes. I guess nobody can go to Hawaii anymore. It doesn't sound that rational to me.
It isn't rational because those are the things that Donald Trump said. We are not going to eliminate cars. We are not going to eliminate trains. We're going to have what I have in my driveway today, which is a blue GM Bolt made in Michigan with American workers. That's what we're going to have, okay? We're going to have televisions powered by solar and wind energy. we're going to have potentially ways to fly airplanes on biofuels. We have flown a Boeing 737 across the Atlantic Ocean now, and biofuels developed in my state. The point is that when we think about our opportunities here, we can't be so narrow-minded. Look, you know, I grew up in the time of rotary phones, and now we got cell phones. We're going to have the greatest transformation of our economy that you can hardly imagine if we unleash this potential of America.
Can I just interject really quick?
Yeah.
I understand you're talking the talk and walking the walk, but a lot of advocates don't. Ocasio-Cortez's campaign spent $30,000 on 1,050 Uber rides. Al Gore's home electricity was 21 times the national average in 2017, even after a green overhaul. Leonardo DiCaprio flies on private jets, including to accept an environmental award in 2016. A lot of environmentalists don't walk the walk, they just talk the talk, and then they want the average American to spend $600,000 in their household, and none of this.
You just said that wasn't really true.
But, that's what's proposed on the new Green Deal.
Actually, that is not what is proposed. Let's get this straight. That is not proposed in the new Green Deal. Okay?
Well, then
I just want to be real straight about this.
Then I guess, Governor, you've got no problems with voters then.
We don't.
Gotta go.
And let me.
I have to cut you off, sir.
And you have
I
a
hate
vote.
to do it to you, but
I'll be back.
we have a time restriction here. So I have to say thank you very much. You are walking the walk and talking the talk, and I'm right there with you.
All right,
Thanks
go
to
ahead.
Governor Jay Inslee. We have to go.
Spring into style on View Your Deal. We partnered with vendors for at least half off this season's fashion forecast. Next.
Moving. That's harder now because of psoriatic arthritis, but you're still moved by moments like this. Don't let psoriatic arthritis take them away. Taltz reduces joint pain and stiffness and helps stop the progression of joint damage. For people with moderate to severe psoriasis, 90% saw significant improvement. Taltz even gives you a chance at completely clear skin. Don't use if you're allergic to Taltz. Before starting, you should be checked for tuberculosis. Taltz may increase risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, symptoms, or received a vaccine or plan to. Inflammatory bowel disease can happen with Taltz, including worsening of symptoms. Serious allergic reactions can occur. For all the things that move you, ask your doctor about Taltz.
Ugh, another delay? But you keep bouncing like I'm a bouncy castle. Oh yeah, 5 stops, 0 leaks. We're crushing this commute.
Huggies Little Movers, our best fitting diaper that fits like a hug. Hug on.
What would you do if you won $7,000 a week for life?
Thank you! I don't believe it!
Well, you better believe it. You could win $7 grand a week for life from Publishers Clearinghouse.
You're serious?
Just go to PCH.com and enter now.
Hooray!
Oh, yes way!
You're joking!
Don't you want the next big winner to be you? Enter now, and April 26th, you could win $7,000 a week for the rest of your life.
Our bodies perform thanks to our amazing cells. Like you, your cells get hungry. Feed them with Centrum Silver, specially crafted for adults 50 plus, so you can be awesome daily. Centrum, feed your cells today.
Who do you think takes more pride in how they craft their orange juice? The corporate executives of Coke and Pepsi? Or the farmers of Florida's Natural? Only Florida's Natural is always made in Florida by Florida farmers. Great taste, naturally.
At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits. You get all this coverage for as low as a $0 monthly plan premium in most areas. Humana has a large network of doctors and hospitals, so call or go online today. Find out if your doctor is part of the Humana network and get your free decision guide. Discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. There is no obligation and the book is free.
Sorry. He just likes cute dogs and pretty ladies.
Or is this your buddy's kid over there, and you're just using him as bait?
I'm blaming my friend entirely for...
Thank you.
That was not your dog.
Now in 6 bold flavors.
No cover-up spray here. It's the irresistibly fresh scent of Febreze Aerofex. Cheaper aerosols can cover up odors, bearing the smell in a flowery fog. Switch to Febreze Aerofex. Febreze eliminates even the toughest odors from the air, and it uses an all-natural propellant to leave behind a pleasant scent you'll love. Use anywhere odors can spread. Freshen up. Don't cover up. Febreze Aerofex.
This time, it's his turn. You have 4.3 minutes to yourself. This calls for a taste of cheesecake. Philadelphia Cheesecake Cups. Rich, creamy cheesecake with real strawberries. Find them with the refrigerated desserts.
Whiskey Wednesday. Millions fell in love with Whiskey Cavalier. Don't miss the best new show of the season.
I am going to win you over. Definitely not.
Whiskey Cavalier. New Wednesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Just around the corner, we hope, and we are dressing you accordingly today. We partner with vendors for at least half off some of this season's fabulous fashions while supplies last. So let's get shopping with lifestyle expert Lana Monahan.
Love you, baby. How are you?
I'm good.
I am going to help you smile into spring. First with La Sera. These are amazing little tanks, which you can see I'm wearing, and I love them. The tunic tanks, all stylish, comfy collection. Comes in sizes small to 4X, so it's inclusive and makes us smile.
Spring is just around the corner, we hope, and we are dressing you accordingly today. We partner with vendors for at least half off some of this season's fabulous fashions while supplies last. So let's get shopping with lifestyle expert Lana Monahan.
Love you, baby. How are you?
I'm good.
I am going to help you smile into spring. First with La Sera. These are amazing little tanks, which you can see I'm wearing, and I love them. The tunic tanks, all stylish, comfy collection. Comes in sizes small to 4X, so it's inclusive and makes us smile. I love these, and the 5-pocket. This is a pant, you guys. It looks like a jean, but it's soft like a knit, so it pulls right on. Nothing hurting you or digging into you. I love these, and I love all the patterns. Original price on these, $45 to $69 for this collection. Not today. $22 to $32, 50 to 54% off. You're gonna love this now. Aura Delphine, the leather satchel. Check this pebble leather satchel out, just like all incredible, beautiful satchels. And you can also do the little wallet, and the wallet has a detachable wristlet. Gold hardware, totally genuine leather, and all these colors are amazing. Original on these bags, $195 to $395. Today's deal, $49 to $89, 74 to 77% off. Sold it. Now, I can't live without this, and I know you, when you go to the hens, you're going to need this, right? Convertible infinity scarf, you guys, with a secret pocket. Not just any pocket. This is a brand new fabric that's got a little shimmer and a whole lot of texture.
I have one of these.
Isn't it clever,
and my friend Regina got one, too.
I love that. You can put your phone, you could tell them you can put your passport, everything, your cash, your credit card.
And it has a zipper.
It's the coolest.
You see?
Original price on these, normally $40. Today's deal, $20. Put that on. She loves it. 50 off. Now, I am obsessed. You're going to love these too for the chickens. So, Jambu, it's called the Gwen Garden Ready shoe, but I want to say I wore it this morning in the snow. The thing about these is not only is it that cool classic duck style, but it's got a this is a weather-proof outsole, but the inside is memory foam. So they're comfortable and you can wear them all day, but check out the patterns and the colors.
Chicken coops.
You know it, girl. You wash those right off. Okay, original price on these typically $49. You're going to die. Today's deal, $24.50.
This is
savings of 50% off. Now, this is another one you're going to want because it's going to leave you hands-free. Lion Latch, so smart. So this is a genius way to store your rings. Check it out. You put your rings right in there because when you don't want to lose something, you close that up and you can attach it to anything. Your belt loop, your little, the little zipper on your jacket, anywhere,
So for
Sunny. And all your valuables, your little rings and your jewelry, can also put pills in here. Really smart. Original price on these, $20. Not today. You get 2 for $10 in a set. Isn't that great? Okay. Skinny Tees. Skinny Tees is incredible. because you obviously have an amazing shape with this wear. So I love it because fabric keeps you nice and smooth. It also is cut a little longer so it doesn't roll and it doesn't ride. You can do anything from the scoop neck 3/4 sleeve, the tank with the skinny straps, or a classic little shell. And also, take a look, you guys, this 3/4 sleeve and new linen dress with pockets. And I layered it over a long sleeve, Sunny, so that you could wear it in the winter. But once it gets warm, ta-da, we put on a little tank with no sleeves and we're good to go in the summer.
Nice.
I love this collection. Isn't it great? Oh, and I have the leggings on. I meant to tell you that. I have the leggings on. Okay, original price on these, $28 to $76. Not today, $13 to $32.
Wow.
For an amazing savings of 50 to 63% off.
Now, do you remember I have one of these?
Yes, I know. You and I love them because we don't have to go in and have any bags. I love that.
I use these in the morning. Can you believe it? And you have all your stuff in it.
That's the thing. You know what? And here's the deal.
One of my
Sunny,
favorite things.
I should tell them now with the shoulder, you guys, I wanted to leave time for this. You can wear this a bunch of ways. She has it doubled up.
Yeah.
You can also wear it tighter around the neck like this. You can wear it side slung with a little side slung vibe. I love that. And you can also wear it as a little pouch. So you have a ton of ways to wear the shoulder.
My husband doesn't get it, but it's great. I love it. All right. Our thanks to Greta Monahan. The clock is ticking. You have 24 hours to grab any of these exclusive deals at viewyourdeal.com. And members of our audience are going home with gifts from Skinny Tees and Shoulder It. Thanks to Barry Weiss for co-hosting. Have a great day, everyone, and take a little time
to enjoy the view.
Clearing out after the latest snow caused delays and disruptions across the area this morning. Plus, devastation down south as tornadoes leave a trail.